Some analysis from Ian Woods, who has covered American politics for decades. And I don't mean to say that you're particularly old, Ian. You started very young, right? I know that. This is amazing. Can you imagine what a president could do if they had majorities in both the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate? How critical is this for both Trump and Biden? What happens in the Senate?
Well, it is critical. I mean, there are some people in US politics who will even say that the US Senate is more important for the party to be in control than it is in the White House, although it has less glamorous side, of course, internationally. But it's worth bearing in mind that the US Senate is designed to be more politically stable. Its senators are elected for a 6-year term, and every 2 years, a third of the Senate, comes up for election. So it is harder to shift back and forwards like it is with the US House of Representatives, which is elected every 2 years. Now, in the midterm elections a couple of years ago, there weren't quite so many favourable seats for the Democrats to target, so they weren't able to change control of the Senate the way they were with the House of Representatives. This time it's different. The economy is obviously weaker than it was before. President Trump is more unpopular than he was before, and you've got, of course, COVID to factor in as well. So 538, that well-known website which tracks all things to do with politics in the United States, reckons that the Democrats currently have a 73% chance of taking control of the US Senate. That might not sound overwhelmingly high. It's certainly less than the chances of Donald Trump losing the presidency. But that 73% is 10 points higher than it was just a week ago. So certainly the Democrats feel that they've got momentum in a lot of these seats.
How much do you think that the senators who have been there, particularly those who have served repeated terms and have been there for decades, how much is their loyalty to the party, how much to federal politics, and how much to the domestic politics of their own states? One of the big criticisms people have made of almost all congressmen and women is that so many of them are multimillionaires that with that much money in their pockets, they don't understand what the lives of real people are like.
Well, that's true. But what is also going to be a factor is how loyal, if they are Republicans, how loyal they've been to Donald Trump over the last 4 years. If his presidency is declining in popularity and his time in the White House, does seem at the moment to be doomed. I mean, there are people who very much nailed their colours to President Trump's mast over the last couple of years. And if his ship is now sinking, well, it's quite difficult for a lot of those senators to change course. Someone who has changed course in the last week or so very publicly is someone whose seat itself is not under threat, but Ben Sasse in Nebraska is facing a divided Democrat electorate, so he's pretty safe. But in a phone call to constituents this week, which was passed on to the media, he was scathing about Donald Trump and forecasting what really could be a Republican bloodbath, in his words, describing Trump as somebody who, quote, kisses dictators' butts, flirted with white supremacists, mocks evangelicals behind closed doors, and whose family treats the presidency as a business opportunity. That, of course, led to some scathing comments from Donald Trump back. But you are finding that Ben Sasse is saying publicly, although he perhaps didn't intend it to be public, what a lot of senators are saying in private, that they perhaps regret having been so outspoken in their support of Donald Trump over the last few years. And some races really do seem as if they are tilting now in the Democrats' favour.
Ian, what do you think the greatest achievement of a second term of a Trump presidency with a Republican-controlled Senate could possibly be? And what might it be for Joe Biden with a Democrat-controlled Senate? What could he possibly be pushing for as his number one aim over the next 4 years if he were to become president?
Well, the thing that you have seen over the last couple of years of the Trump presidency is the importance of the Senate when it comes to approving Supreme Court justices. And that is something which provides a president with a legacy. And Donald Trump is now, if Amy Coney Barrett is approved by the Senate, is able to serve out, that will be approved, and therefore she is in the Supreme Court for life. And that is a big conservative majority in the Supreme Court. And that will last long after Donald Trump, or indeed Joe Biden, is the president. That is one of the key factors. And it is because of that that you saw this really intense battle over recent weeks over Amy Coney Barrett's nomination, with Democrats saying that any decision on it should be left until a new president and indeed a new Senate is sworn in January. And that is particularly, this whole debate is one of the reasons why Senator Lindsey Graham is perhaps one of the surprising potential casualties of this election race. I mean, he seemed pretty secure in his seat in South Carolina, but the latest opinion polls are suggesting he's now neck and neck with Jamie Harrison, and a huge amount of Democrat money is pouring into that state. Because Lindsey Graham is someone who was in charge of the chairing the Judiciary Committee overseeing these appointments, and he's also someone who is very prone to criticisms of being something two-faced, because let's remember he was very critical of Donald Trump 4 years ago before Donald Trump became president, but has been extremely close to him ever since. So that kind of loyalty is going to perhaps affect him badly in the polls in a couple of weeks' time. There's other senators who are at risk as well, Republican senators in Colorado, in Maine, in Arizona particularly. John McCain's old seat in Arizona is looking likely as if it will go to Mark Kelly, who's a former NASA astronaut.
Okay.
And one of the reasons for that switch, I do feel, is because Cindy McCain, John McCain's widow, has come out in support of Joe Biden and Democrats in this election.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian Woods, thank you so much indeed, and I'm sure we will talk again before November the 3rd. Thank you so much indeed.